I think if I hear you call me Becky one more time, six-pack, I'm gonna pop your tops. All six of them.
Who are you?
Hey, this is Matt once again, and no, I'm not doing cocaine, although maybe I should start. The Star Search, after a bunch of cocaine, do my impression Starface. But this is a request for Joseph, a paid request. Thank you so much for that. If anyone wants to request any other type of reviews, or re-reviews, or topics, or lists, or random, or reactions, what have you, feel free to send it either directly to my PayPal or join my Patreon. Both links are down below in the info box. Now, this is for Casino Royale, but not the one you're thinking of. Or not even the two that you're thinking of. Now, not too long ago, I did a video on James Bond, which was another request. And seeing what this was, because I had never heard of it, this was the first time James Bond was on a screen. Now, it was a television screen, but it was the first time. Because after this, in the 60s, you had the parody Casino Royale with Peter Sellers. Then you had Dr. No and the James Bond series. Now, of course, many, many years later, Casino Royale with Daniel Craig. This was an episode of this anthology series called Climax. Never even heard of Climax. And it was the first screen adaptation of a James Bond novel. I believe it was a year after, because I believe Casino Royale, I believe the book came out in 1953, and this was 1954. And Barry Nelson plays James Bond. If you don't know who Barry Nelson is, the film you may recognize him is Stanley Kubrick's The Shining. He's one of the people, when Jack Nicholson gets interviewed, before he goes off to the hotel, and you have a couple people there, the guy behind the main desk is Barry Nelson. So, like, the main guy talking to Jack Nicholson during the interview in The Shining, before that, he played James Bond. And it's an American James Bond called Jimmy Bond. Yes, Jimmy Bond. I guess when this came out, it was broadcast live. And for a while, it was believed to be lost. I guess this got found in the 80s. But even then, like, if you find this on YouTube, the ending is cut out. You can find that separately in rougher quality, because I guess even years after it was found, then they found the rest of the ending. So again, if you find it on YouTube, the ending is cut off. Because like, wow, it ended randomly, because that's not how it's supposed to end. Now, I would say this is more interesting in a historical note than the actual program. The actual program I thought fucking sucked. And I get it, it's live TV, the production quality is very, very cheap. Barry Nelson as an American Bond, he's there. The best thing is Peter Lorre. Peter Lorre is a villain, and I could see him working in an actual James Bond movie. But Peter Lorre, he passed away before the James Bond films were really getting made, so which is too bad. But I like Peter Lorre. For those that don't know, you probably have seen people mimic his speech pattern. I'm not going to try because I'm bad at that. But just look up Peter Lorre. And he had this very specific speech pattern, which is why usually he would play villainous roles. Because it's about 50 minutes long, the program. Of course, because of its running time and because it was on TV in the 50s, a lot of stuff was changed. Again, they made James Bond American, Jimmy Bond, very cheap, in front of a live studio audience. I think that was a bad mistake because that way you get no outside shots. You could tell they were only in like 3-4 sets. Like the sets for the casino, a set for a hotel room, a handful of others. It's very, very talky. Jimmy Bond, he's shot at. He hides behind this pillar that looks like he's ready to fall off, made out of paper mache or something. He goes in. Are you the fellow that was shot? No, I was the fellow who was missed. That's the dialogue. Pretty much he's supposed to play cards with Peter Lorre and beat him because Peter Lorre is using the money because he works with the Soviets and they're for the funding, but Peter Lorre's going to use it anyway. If you beat Peter Lorre and take his money, then the Soviets will take care of Peter Lorre on their own. Meanwhile, he meets this girl who he used to know in the past. You come to find out she works for the French. At times, you have this piano music in the background that's very distracting because it sounds like someone's just going, like imagine doing this on a piano. I'm like, just have no music at all, please. And you have dialogue explaining how Baccarat works. The way they explained it, it made it more fucking confusing as to how to play the game. And it's cheap production because it's done for live TV. And he plays a game, he's losing, then he wins, someone comes up behind him, he has a cane with a gun to it. I swear Jimmy Bond does like a dab. It's like, that's what it looked like. And flies off over here. It looked silly to me. It looked fucking ridiculous, but that's just me. And that's the thing, this James Bond is not cool. He's not badass. Barry Nelson maybe did the best he could with what he was given, the circumstances. Like, okay, you got live TV. We don't have really any money but peanuts. Probably the money we did have, we did to get Peter Lorre. But and also the way the dialogue would go about, where they're talking, but as they're talking, they're given so much information, I guess because of the short running time, because they can't explain things. So Peter Lorre, who wants the check, and hey, you give me the check, I won't kill your lady. The dialogue goes about the money partly supplied by the French Secret Service through its agent. Oh, I'll live with Valerie. Yes, agent of the Bureau. Agent of the French Bureau. This is how they taught, and this is how exposition worked back in the day, folks. It'd be like me going, hello, it's me, the guy talking in this room. And, the guy who's talking about 10 a.m. I'm talking to you as I'm speaking through the people we already know. Or it just feels unnatural, the way the dialogue is spouted out. It's unnatural because the idea of so much exposition and almost that is to remind the live audience, Oh, by the way, she's an agent, and she's a French Secret Service agent, and that money, oh, what's that money? It was supplied by this and this. It's just, I'm listening to this, and I'm watching this, I'm going, yeah, now one bit of this feels natural. And maybe that's just the time it was made. And the third act is, I think he's ready for the bathtub. Like, no, that's not what you think. It's their way of torture. In the bathtub, they're going to do something, he screams, "You'll be tortured till the end of madness." The one bit of dialogue I didn't mind is when Peter Lorre goes, "Painting and killing is part of my job." No, Barry Nelson says that. "Painting and killing is part of my job." And Peter Lorre goes, "Mine too." And then Jimmy Bond goes, "I bet you love it." And so Peter Lorre goes, "Oh, how did you know?" The way he said that, like I said, Peter Lorre is good. He could have worked in a real James Bond movie. And like the girl, she's tied up next to him. They leave, the bad guys, to search the room again. No one keeps watch on Jimmy Bond. How convenient. So the girl was talking this exposition about, oh, remember back then when we did this and when we did that. She keeps talking as she grabs this thing, and it's like she can't quite grasp it, and it kind of like falls off of her fingers into the bathtub. I do wonder if that was meant to happen, or if she was meant to put it in the guy's hand. I don't know. But then he's kind of struggling and uses the thing to untie himself. Shoots some people off screen. Shoots Peter Lorre. And the way it ends on YouTube, Peter Lorre sits down, Jimmy Bond sits down, and he tells the girl, "Call the police." Fade out, the end. You know, that was abrupt. That's not how it was supposed to end. It's supposed to go on a few minutes more, where Peter Lorre grabs the girl one more time. She fights off, gives Jimmy Bond room, shoots Peter Lorre dead. Then it'd be over. I'm sorry, I just was not a fan of this. And it's not because I'm against films in the 50s. I like the theme from Another World. I mean, I love old classic Three Stooges. Abbott and Costello. Red Skelton. Like I said, it's interesting to watch because it's an old James Bond that I'd never heard of before. It's the first time Jimmy Bond, but again, it's not really James Bond. The fact he's American and it's Jimmy Bond and like all this other stuff, it just, if someone were to tell me the worst James Bond, it'd probably go to Barry Nelson. Again, he's not the worst, well, technically he's the worst James Bond film of the people who played it, but it's not that he's a terrible actor, it's just the way it's done. The low production value, it being done for live TV. It's like a play. That's really what it comes off as. A 50-minute play. The production values of a play, the quality of a play, and I don't like plays. That's why I watch movies, not plays. I watch TV shows, not plays. I don't like plays. I'm sorry. I like some good music or some decent production value into what I view. Call me uptight, or call me pretentious, or call me what? Or call me a cab so I get the fuck out of this joint. Yeah, Casino Royale from the 1954 is just flat out fucking boring. Very talky. You don't really get the gadgets of James Bond. You don't get, to me, a badass James Bond. And other than historical value, there's no other reason to see this, in my opinion. Or in Peter Lorre. He was good. But with that said, thanks for watching. Take care. We'll see you guys later. Bye-bye.